This is for 5th grade, Social Studies, week 28, the Constitution. I am on the front page where it talks about the preamble of the United States Constitution. I am going to have to read this a little bit fast because we have a lot to go over. So we will just dig in and I will tell you when we need to start highlighting. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. The preamble of the Constitution set the expectation for the new American government. It brought the concepts of the Declaration of Independence to the government. The governments are instituted among the men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. By using the words, we the people, the framers gave direct power to the people to form a government. We the people are the government. The people give the authority to our representatives. We, the people, have a responsibility to limit the power of government. We, the people, have to be involved in government and secure the rights of liberty. From this preamble, the people of every generation are told how to maintain their unalienable rights. Each generation is responsible for keeping the power of government with the people. The Declaration of Independence states, whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it. So we are going to highlight by using the words, we the people. We're going to highlight all the way down to right there, to the rights of liberty. So I will give you a minute to make sure you get that highlighted, and then we will keep going on down. In 1787, 55 men took responsibility to alter and, if necessary, abolish the government through words, compromise, and the voice of the people. Now we're going to go on to our next part. The Constitution. This is the main top section on the inside of your news article. The Constitution consists of the preamble, 7 articles, and 27 amendments. Right away, you're going to want to have that highlighted, because that is a question on your test. The preamble explains the purpose of the document. The 7 articles lay out the 3 branches of the government and the rules for each branch. That also needs to be highlighted. The 27 amendments guarantee the rights of the people. The amendments have been added as the nation has grown. The amendments give clarity and specific rules to the government. Article 1, the legislative branch. We're going to highlight that section right there, that subheading right there. All legislative powers herein granted shall be vested in a Congress of the United States, which shall consist of a Senate and a House of Representatives. Section 1. Section 1. Congress is granted the power to make laws in 2 organized parts, the Senate and the House of Representatives. Section 2. The House of Representatives is defined. The election of members is every 2 years. Each member must be at least 25 years old and a citizen of the United States for at least 7 years. So we're going to want to highlight all of Section 2 also. Then moving on down. The number of representatives will be determined by the population of free persons, including those bound to service for a term of years, like indentured servants, and excluding Indians that are not taxed, and 3/5 of other persons. The country will be counted every 10 years in a census. If there's a vacancy from any state, the executive branch will call for an election. The House of Representatives will have the sole power of impeachment, or to challenge or investigate a member of the government. Section 3. The Senate is defined. Each state will have 2 elected senators to Congress for a 6-year term. Each senator must be at least 30 years old and a citizen of the United States for at least 9 years. The Vice President of the executive branch will be the President of the Senate. The Vice President may only vote to break a tie. The Senate will also elect a President to serve in the absence of a Vice President. The Senate will have the sole power to try all impeachments, and impeachments will not extend to more than a removal from office in the government. So we are going to go back and we are going to highlight this section here. Then moving down a little bit, we also are going to highlight that sentence there. And moving down to Section 4. We are still in Article 1, but we're in Section 4 of Article 1. Section 4. The Congress will meet at least once every year on the first Monday in December. The remaining 6 sections define the rules and the responsibilities of each group in the system of checks and balances. They help to keep power distributed across the branches of the government. There are clear directions on what Congress is forbidden to do. Only Congress can raise and spend money. Congress is responsible for the Army, Navy, Marines, Air Force, and Coast Guard. The representatives of the people are in charge of the military. The final section closes with the powers forbidden to the states. So we are going to highlight here that only Congress can raise and spend money, and the Congress is in charge of all of our military forces. This means that because only Congress can raise and spend money, this means that our president cannot spend money on his own. He has to have the approval, like he has to go through Congress and have them do that. And when it says Congress is responsible for the Army, the Navy, the Marines, the Air Force, and the Coast Guard, that means that they are the ones that decide if we officially go to war. While the president is the commander-in-chief of the military, Congress is the ones that's actually in charge. They decide if we get to declare war on another country and things like that. So now we're going to move on to Article 2, the executive branch. The executive branch is like the fancy word for the president. So whenever you see the words executive branch, you're going to know that that means the president, the vice president, those parts of our government. The executive power shall be vested in a President of the United States of America. He shall hold his office during the term of 4 years, and together with the vice president chosen for that term. So that means the president and the vice president are elected together, and they both begin serving, and they both end serving their terms at the same time. So we're going to highlight that. Then we're going to go down to section 1 of Article 2. A person who is a natural-born citizen, at least 35 years old, and a resident of the United States for 14 years can work for the executive office. Once elected, the president shall take the following oath or affirmation. And this is the promise that they take when they are officially step into being the president, when they're officially hired, and it's called their inauguration day. They say these words: I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States and will to the best of my ability preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. So we're going to highlight this part right there. These are the requirements if someone wants to be president. They have to meet all of these things before they can run for that particular office. Now we're going to move down to Section 2. Section 2 sets up the President as the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, or the military. It further defines the powers within the office for hiring people for government posts with the advice and consent of the Senate. And that simply means that the President can appoint people to do certain jobs within the government, but in some cases, the Senate has to approve his choices. He can't just hire anybody that he wants to. They have to be approved by the Senate. Section 3, the President is required to give information on the state of the Union to Congress. Typically, in current days, we will see that happen generally in January of each year. Sometimes you'll hear about the president talking about the State of the Union. That's where he will go before both houses, and he will give a very important speech about how the country is doing, what's going on, what challenges we're facing, and that kind of thing. And he is required by our Constitution to do that. Section 4, the President, the Vice President, and all civil officers of the United States shall be removed from office on impeachment for and conviction of treason, bribery, and other high crimes and misdemeanors. So that means if the House of Representatives impeaches a president, they have determined that he has done something. Potentially he has done something. And then it will go to the Senate, and they will put him on trial. And if they find that he has actually done something wrong, if he has done something that's considered treason or bribery, then they can remove him from office at that point in time. And that goes for the Vice President and all civil officers of the United States. That's applicable to them as well. Now we're going to scooch on over to Article 3. This is the judicial branch. This is where we find our judges, the judicial system. So Article 3 is all about the judicial branch, or the judges. The judicial power of the United States shall be vested in one Supreme Court, and in such inferior courts as the Congress may from time to time ordain and establish. As established under Article 2, the President will nominate a judge for the judicial branch. The nominee must be confirmed through the Senate. So that is again saying that the President can appoint someone to be a judge, but the Senate has to approve them first. And so we're going to highlight that real quick. And then this is going to be the end of Part 1 recording, and we will pick up Section 2 for the Part 2 recording. Thank you very much.